So, how's the journey been so far?
Well, it's been a lot of hard work, but exciting actually, I must say, despite all the stress, traveling, and the pandemic. The pandemic added some flavor to it, I mean, ironically. So,
You came into position as women continental president what year, and were you expecting it?
oh yes. The beautiful thing about WIM Africa is that once you're the first vice president, you will automatically become the continental president. So we don't have an election for the seat of the president of the continent. Yes. The first vice president, once you're capable, of course, your being the first vice president gives you the edge, that you're going to be the next continental president. But if you think you're not capable to host the AGM that is going to usher you in as the president, then you can defer to the second vice president. So when I was the first vice president, during the tenure of the founding president of WIM Africa, Rosa Sobrinho of Angola, I knew I was going to be the next continental president, and I knew I was going to get my country, Nigeria, to host the AGM and conference that was going to usher me in as the second continental president of WIM Africa.
Fantastic. So we have lots of women maritime organizations. This what makes women different and what's the basis for its establishment?
Yes, indeed, we have WISTA, WILAT, WIMARCA. Now, what's the distinction between WIM Africa and these other female maritime organizations? Now, WIM Africa is for women from various cadres in the maritime industry. And by various cadres, I mean you don't have to be in the leadership position where you work. You don't have to be the CEO or the decision maker in the company where you work. You could be a staff, you could be an assistant director, you could just be, a staff, as long as your vocation is maritime related. That's the difference. So WIM Africa, I will say, is inclusive. By inclusivity, we mean we allow our mentees to come on board as members of our great organization, and not just mentees who are not members. Unlike WISTA, Women in Shipping and Trade Association, WISTA, you have to be in the leadership position. Actually, WISTA is meant for women in the maritime industry in leadership position. Some people get it wrong and they open it up for women who are not in leadership position. That's not WISTA. So those who are in WISTA are mentees. All right, so that's the difference between WISTA and WIM Africa. Now, the distinction between WIM Africa and WIMARCA is that WIMARCA is a creation of African women from the West and Central Africa in maritime by the International Maritime Organization. So it's a regional organization, West and Central Africa, and a creation of IMO for women in maritime in that region of Africa. Whereas WIM Africa is more like a Pan-African organization, a creation of a woman, not actually a creation, a thought of a woman who actually was the first female chairperson of the African Union Commission, Dr. Lamini Nkosazana Zuma, who is our patroness. She thought it out that African women should come together and form an organization for women in the maritime industry for the purpose of blue economy, of course. And that was how WIM Africa was founded. And because at that time She was the chairperson of African Union Commission. We always say that Women Africa is a creation of the African Union. Do you get it? And then we are not regional. We are continental. Women Africa covers North, South, East, West, Central Africa. We're not regional. We're not just secluded to West and Central Africa, no, or North Africa as AWIMA is, Arab Women in Maritime. They are also a creation of IMO for the northern region of Africa. WOMESA is a creation of IMO, of women in maritime from the East and South Africa, eastern and southern part of Africa. But we are not. We cover the continent. So you will find that some members of WOMESA, AWIMA, and WIMOCA are also members of Women Africa. Women Africa was founded before AWIMA and WIMOCA. So our members, dovetailed to WIMOCA and AWIMA so that they could also take the benefit of IMO's largesse.
Fantastic. It's so good that you made this clarification because I never knew myself, and this is very, very important.
Yes,
now,
it is.
6 years down the line, and you're seeing this crowd of people, do you feel overwhelmed that women has grown?
Oh yes, indeed. Perhaps that's why you said I look tired. Because today, when we started in 2015, we're 6 years old this year. When Women Africa started in 2015 in Luanda, Angola, after the initiative by Dr. Lamini Kusana Zuma in South Africa, but not in South Africa, in South Africa during what they call Ndaba, the South African Conference on Maritime. We met in Luanda, Angola, and in 2015, and Women Africa was founded. We were just, at that time, we were 5 African countries that, joined to form Women Africa. And before Rosa Sobrinho, the founding president, handed over the mantle to me, we grew to be 9 African countries that were members of Women Africa. I was our first vice president. But today, to the glory of God, Women Africa has grown to 27 chapters. And that's overwhelming. That's really overwhelming and exciting as well. So, and today in Lomé, Togo, where we're having the 3rd AGM and conference, I am so excited to see that we have about 13 African countries, members, physically present at this AGM. And the rest, because it's hybrid due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the rest linked online to participate in our 3rd AGM and conference. Being a member of Women Africa affords you the opportunity of learning more about the industry. Empowerment is key. By empowerment, knowledge. Empowerment is knowledge-based. So for those who are still desirous of continuing in the education, knowing more about the maritime industry, Women Africa is a good organization where such knowledge is espoused, exchanged, and made possible for you to attain more. You understand? By more, I mean, for example, we are recognized by IMO. We were recognized in 2019 when IMO sponsored us to the World Female Maritime Conference in Sweden, in Malmö. That was a huge one. That's a fantastic outing for women in the maritime industry globally. So a lot of topics were discussed. That's knowledge-based, apart from the networking. So that brings me to second benefit, which is networking. You get to meet people from diverse countries, vocations, religion, languages, particularly. That's exciting. I mean, now I speak a bit of Portuguese and I speak French as well. Talking about the financial aspect, it opens your door to a network. So if you were a freight forwarder, for example, you're a member of WIM Africa, you're a member of the chapter in Nigeria. By being a member of WIM Africa, you are a sister to WIMA Togo members. So you could exchange your trade, right? You could be patronized as a sister, and many more. So it all depends on your PR, your networking capability. It also opens doors to you getting to know more about the continent, particularly. Because we can't say we are Ubuntu, which is our slogan. We are united, we are one family, we are because of you, without knowing where you come from. And so when we want to inaugurate new chapters, we have to go to that country. I had to go to Monrovia 2 years ago, Liberia, to be able to inaugurate the chapter in Liberia. So you get to know other parts of the continent. It's so disheartening that many of us are conversant with European countries, London, France, Oslo, but we don't even know the beautiful countries in our continent. So with WIM Africa, you get to see how beautiful the continent is as well. And of course, because we are not an island on our own, we appreciate that it's continent-based, we collaborate with the Western world. So through WIM Africa, like I said to you earlier, IMO sponsored our trip to Sweden for the World Maritime Conference. So you also get to visit such other countries in Europe. We were in Oslo for Blue Economic Conference. So that's a third advantage I think I've reeled out. And many more. Advantages are called out by you from the network, from the meeting, from the ideals. You understand? You should be able to call out the advantages yourself.
You get trainings from people.
Oh yes, we do. We do from our various chapters. Various chapters have their own modus operandi. They have trainings. And then when we come together, like AGM, we get this, panel discussions. If we had time, we would normally open the floor for questions from the audience. So we're able to hear from the audience, their own views and be able to answer them. But because of shortage of time, we didn't incorporate that this year.
Fantastic. So now let's narrow it down to when you came on board
WIM Africa.
Yes, as the continental president, what were the challenges you saw that you felt that, I have to survive this? Were you discouraged, or did you feel that it's my call, I have to take the blue light on because you're a huge success. Everyone sees your success.
Well, thank you. Well, but don't forget I was the first vice president of WIM Africa. And like I said, I wasn't surprised that I became the continental president, the second continental president. So as the first vice president then, I knew our challenges. I mean, I couldn't but know the challenges by virtue of my position. I was next to the continental president.
It was reactive.
Well,
That's it.
I don't think it is responsible for anyone to take an office and not perform. I think it's totally irresponsible if you are entrusted to an office and you don't perform. Then why take the office? So when I accepted the office as the first vice president of WIM Africa, I had to perform. I had to support my president to achieve her goals, to achieve the ideals of WIM Africa. So by the time she stepped down, I knew we had quite a lot more to do that we couldn't achieve during her tenure. So I had to continue from where she stopped. So it was quite overwhelming, like I said. We were nine chapters. And if we say we're a continental body, and the continent has 54 countries, and we have 9, we're not half yet. What kind of continent is that? We're not a continental body for all I care. So that was a very challenging one. You know, but we thank God we're able to surmount it up to 27. So we got half of it.
Nice, 27 when you came on
Yes.
board.
Yeah. So within 3 years we got 27.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is one achievement. So right now, I want you to just, we need to celebrate you.
Thank
I say
you.
should do your job. Let's do it for you. But, your name definitely be written in gold in Africa. And just share with us things you were able to put in place that today Women Africa members will have a good leverage and say, oh, boast that I'm a Women Africa person because you did. What are your achievements so far?
What I consider to be a greater, I always say we, because it's not about me alone actually. I worked with some dynamic executives, strong dynamic ladies who worked tirelessly with me to achieve the success that we are celebrating today to the glory of God. It's not about me. I didn't do it alone. So what I consider to be our greatest achievement was when we got United Nations to recognize us. We had applied almost immediately when I got the mantle of office as a continental president. And you can imagine from that first time, 3 years ago, and UN kept bombarding us with, send us this information about your organization. We want to see your organization's tax papers, account details, and so many documentations that we never had in the first regime. So we had to really work on it in order to meet the requirements that United Nations required from us. That didn't make them give us a soft landing. 1 year we didn't get recognition. So, but we kept prompting. We didn't just sit back and to say, oh, we're praying, we're waiting the will. No, we kept sending mails. We're still here. Women Africa is still waiting. We sent a mail. We quoted the date we sent the mail. We reminded them of the fact that we have met this requirement. We're waiting to hear from them. We were wondering why it's taking so long. So I think because we kept prompting, they just couldn't push us aside. So, but they replied us. Oh, they're having this. Oh, they're going to do that. They're going to shortlist this. The shortlisting, and COVID set in, and everything went low. But we kept quiet on that as well. So you can imagine our joy when come September, we got an email in our box from the United Nations saying that as far back as July, they had given us recognition officially. And they probably thought they needed to communicate that to us because the letter was dated sometime in July.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, now we have a new president, a new continental president. So you're very do you think she's happy
Yes, sir.
to build on what you built on?
Yvonne Adelante Lawson, our new and third continental president, was my first vice president. So she was with me for 3 years. She went through thick and thin, like we say, with me for 3 years, just like I did with Dry Rosa Sobrinho. So she is capable. She is capable. She knows my dream. She was there with me. You know, it was a teamwork. That we're 27, she was part of it. That we got the UN recognition, she was part of it. So she can do it. She needs our support. My support, the support of our new executives and all members, just like they gave to me. And by the grace of God, she will excel and even do bigger and better and greater than I did.
The new president, where do you see women going to?
Yes, I see Weaver becoming 40 chapters if she doesn't cover the entire continent. I mean, I did half. So she can, you know, give us that pop of champagne and finish it up. but I see an increase in chapters. I see real participation in the organizations that we have collaborated with, such as United Nations, World Ocean Council. I see us really participating more. I see more activities for Women Africa in her tenure in those bodies. I see that happen. When we were invited by UN before the recognition, because we pushed through AU to attend a conference organized by UN in New York just before COVID. I couldn't make it. I didn't get the visa on time. I sent her. She represented Women Africa. So it's not new to her, really. So I see more involvement, more activities in her time. It's not about MOUs now. We got them, but we need to work it. We need to be visible in those organizations. So I see that.
Finally, today you handed over the mantle of leadership. So what next?
Yeah.
Player in the continent and beyond the continent.
I am a senior advocate of Nigeria. I haven't really performed my duty as a senior advocate well enough, because being a continental president of Women Africa is so engaging. So now I can get back to my chambers and perform my work as a senior advocate of Nigeria. I love advocacy. That's me. So I can't wait to get back to the courtroom in full. I really do want to get back to my chambers, and dust those law reports up again. Get back to the courtroom and do my advocacy.